Welcome to Channel 17, the Town of Colonie Government Channel.
All right, well, welcome to Getting to Know You. My name is Joe Nash. Today we're going to be talking about the Vanguard Showhouse. And once again, this is Barbara's third time here, I think.
It is.
We have with us the president of the Vanguard Showhouse, Barbara Richer. And we have with us one of the designers. As you know from our previous shows, we had, I think there was 19 or 20 designers. We have one of them here today from the Blairhouse Interiors. They're right there on Route 9, kitty corner to Town Hall. I think most people drive by it every day. We have three people from there. We're going to be talking to Tom Burns first, who's one of the partners. So welcome back, Barbara.
Thank you.
Tom. Thank you. Before we get going on Blairhouse Interiors, how did the Vanguard Showhouse go this year? Can you sum everything up? I heard it was very successful.
I can sum it all up, and I can thank you very much for having us back as sort of an after, not an afterthought, but an after speak. The Showhouse was an enormous success this year, just a wonderful, wonderful success. We hosted approximately 3,300 people, visitors, that came through, either in groups or individually. We had many people this year that made return visits, bringing other people back with them, which is unusual, and willingly paid that door fee for a return visit. Between our boutique and our cafe, and the designer sales within the house, and the visitor money coming into the house, we were able to present the Albany Symphony Orchestra with a check. This includes the Showhouse and other fundraisers that we did during the year. The bulk of it, however, was the Showhouse money. We presented them with a check for $78,000.
Now, was this one of your more successful years?
This has been, yes. This was an increase of approximately 900 people coming through over last year, which always adds to the coffers immensely.
And the designers, it was 19 designers, right?
19 or 20. We had about 25 spaces. I should say, in large part, the success of this event every year depends on the partnership that exists between the homeowner, the designers, and Vanguard. It's that partnership that's so significant, and that's that partnership that keeps the music of Albany Symphony going.
And then did any of the designers, or all of them, did they get any business that you know?
Actually, yes. Actually, and I haven't asked Blairhouse, but they can address that if they've had any inquiries. But I have talked to some of the other designers, and several of them have had people come into the stores and say, I have been to the Showhouse and I'm interested in thus and so, or can you help me with color selections? So we know that people coming through the Showhouse very often take that booklet, that program, and becomes their Bible for, if not this year, next year, 3 years from now, they'll refer to that room that they especially loved, and they'll hopefully go back to those designers.
Well, I'll just tell people watching, the website is still up. It's VanguardShowhouse.com, right?
.org.
.org, I'm sorry. And all the rooms, you can see pictures, and the websites of all the designers are there. So now we're going to talk to one of the designers, or one person from there. We have two other guests too. Tom Burns, you're one of the partners, Blairhouse Interiors, right on Route 9, like I said. Welcome.
We also have a second location in Saratoga.
Oh, you're in Saratoga too? Okay.
Yes, on Broadway near Congress Park. We opened last August. Okay,
I didn't see that on the website. Okay. How did you guys, Blairhouse, get involved with Vanguard?
Well, our history with Vanguard goes back probably 9 or 10 years.
This isn't the first time you've done it?
This is not the first room we've done. We haven't done them every year for different reasons. Sometimes it's location, sometimes it's the time, because it is an investment in a lot of time and product to get a room pulled together and hit the deadline. So this year, it was a great house. It was a good proximity to our Loudonville studio, so we opted to
No, you guys are right down the street.
Right, so it was convenient.
Now, Barbara was telling us the last time we were here, the designers come in and then they sort of, they don't bid on the room, but they sort of choose. How did you guys decide? You guys did the parlor.
That's correct.
Was there any
Well,
particular reason why
there
you
are certain rooms that have more appeal from a design standpoint, especially for the type of firm that we do. We like to create workable, functioning spaces for our clients that are comfortable, aesthetically pleasing, but still you can live in them, if you will. And that parlor and the library and a couple of other rooms are all
Beautiful.
really
Perfect.
like. So we tossed our hat in for one of those.
Okay. Now, I was going to ask you, let's see, once you choose your room, then what, do you work with Nate? Nate was the owner of the house. Did he let you do what you wanted, or do you have?
Well, he had some ideas. The room that we ended up doing, which was called a parlor, was really the downstairs media room. So some of the givens were the fact that it was a relatively small footprint. The proportions of the room were challenging because of very high ceilings and tall windows, small fireplace, small floor plan, and he wanted to put a rather large flat screen television there, housed in a pretty significant cabinet. So those were all the elements that we were given at the get-go to work around.
Okay.
I should say it is a challenge oftentimes for the designers, especially in a house that's being renovated like this. That partnership, that three-way partnership, sometimes dictates things that the designer might not have wanted to necessarily do with that space. So the fact that it was Nate's home and that he had made a step forward in the cabinetry for the knowing that he wanted a television set in that room sort of drove the use of the room.
But we were, from the onset level, we were included in part of that cabinet design. So we did have some input in that, because originally it was going to be nearly a wall-to-wall, and we felt that was going to be a little bit much, so we pulled it in.
Well, I'll show a picture. This will be on the screen. You people watching. This is the where you put the TV. Okay, and this is across from the fireplace. There's a.
You enter the room looking at the fireplace, and this would be on the left wall.
And we have some pictures just to show some of the work they did. We have some before and after. These will be on the screen too. This is a before. Here's the fireplace before. And then, as you can see, very, very nice, colorful, what you guys did. Wow, this is pretty amazing.
It's beautiful. It was
Now, when you design a room, whether it's the Vanguard house or in your business, how does that? Do you work? I mean, obviously, do you work with other people to get all the products here and stuff? How does that all?
Well, other people mean within my firm, or?
Yeah, I mean, you guys don't make the couches and all that.
No, we don't. I have 3 business partners, and we all have individual products, and we also individual projects, and we also have a lot of collaborative ones. And in this case, there was the 3 of us that worked on this, and we all came away with a pretty similar vision. Then we compared notes and started pulling it together. And the first thing you do is to size up the room and plan do the space planning, which is basically placing the furniture and getting the scale and the size of the furniture so that it works in the room. So you don't have sofas that are too large, chairs that are too small. And then you start filling in that footprint.
I should have probably asked you that first. How does a designer actually goes about the
well,
work here?
it's not. I don't know how to express it clearly. It's a sort of thing you look at the space and you realize, and then you begin to have I know this sounds a little corny. You begin to have sort of a vision for what you want there, and then so your starting point, you know where you want to end up, and then it's a process to do that.
I noticed on your website you have about over 40 people. 40. It says partners.
Industry
or I'm sorry, it says resources.
Right.
There's and they have their websites. You can find this on the website. I'll just read a few. I don't know, Astoria Imports, Brandberg Gallery, Brass Light Gallery. Are these the companies that you work with for the?
Actually, that website needs to be updated.
Oh, okay.
Instead of 40, it's probably closer to 300.
300, okay. Well,
Okay,
at the moment,
we,
there's 40.
we can access the full gamut of what's out
Okay.
there in terms of textiles, lighting, carpet, area rugs, furniture, fixtures, bath tile. If you need it, we can get it.
Yeah, and these are the people that you work with, is what?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's
And then
correct.
there's links to all, well, at least the ones on there now, there's links to all these companies, and they really have beautiful products.
And most of those are really to the trade resources, so
Okay.
they work with design firms like ours.
Okay.
And because it's not the sort of product, most of them are higher end, that people have a comfort level to just say, okay, I'm going to buy this piece. And then they get it home and it doesn't work. And then they have buyer's regret, and we don't like that.
Well, then, before we talk to your two other partners, can you just tell us a little bit about how it went this year at the Vanguard? Did you enjoy doing it? And
Well, we had our moments. I had a meltdown with Barbara one time, but I mean that is the sort of thing that it
be
happens. I
expected.
mean, you know, the best way I could. The best analogy, I think, is a theater opening. I mean,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
everybody's putting together.
for several months, you were guys
Yes.
working there.
Oh, yes. Several months. You're putting together a room, and part of it is individual, like you're learning your role, and part of it is being part of the ensemble. And there's just not room for too many leading ladies. You've got to have a chorus. So it's good. And you know, there's always setbacks. There's always challenges that you know in terms of timing, and you know there are all the workmen in there are trying to get things done. Sometimes they're working literally on top of one
Well, I say
another.
you have 19 designers you guys all know all at once.
Even before the
Okay.
designers, there's the craftsmen that are in there
Yeah,
that
that
are
must
doing the carpentry work and the plumbing. And this house, because of its age, required a tremendous amount of mechanical updates. And I think that's putting it
Absolutely, mildly.
I mean, what was done on this house, because it had been allowed to kind of fail for a long time.
When Barbara was here before, we saw pictures of all the renovations. Quite the project. I mean,
It was
Barbara was
enormous.
saying
It was an enormous
this
project.
is one of the biggest ones the Vanguard has ever did. I mean, the biggest renovation. I think you were
Renovation,
saying.
and
Yeah.
really to echo what Tom's saying, the designers were pressed from the beginning, because typically we would take over the house on the 1st of March, Vanguard and the designers, and all that construction would be finished. So you would be working in sort of a dust clear environment, and you would be going into your room and you would be doing your role in this magnificent piece of theater. But this time the house was not anywhere near finished, and it was clear that we were going to be working with other craftsmen and other construction people, from plumbing to craftsmen that made the incredibly wonderful over fireplace wood feature that Blairhouse designed. But they were working side by side with our designers, so there was dust to contend with. There was space to contend with. There was more dust to contend with. So this challenged all of us, but it was a tribute to everybody in the house that we all came out alive, I think, and really created
was
some
right down to
beautiful
the
art.
11th hour.
Right, we were finishing up the night before we opened. So.
Well, looking at the pictures, which you'll see on the screen, the parlor came out beautiful.
It did.
What was the reaction, Barbara, to the parlor when?
Well, there were people were speechless from the moment that they walked in. That your eye was drawn in several directions after first just noticing this beautiful fireplace. But they had created an astonishing ceiling, and the colors were crisp and strong. I certainly want the designers to talk about it, but I did probably 18 tours, maybe 15 tours of the 21 tours that we did, and this really was a favorite room. It spoke to a lot of people. It's quite lovely.
And will you guys be involved with Vanguard next year? I don't know if they know where
That's a long ways away.
Long way. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to meet two of the designers from Blairhouse, Pat Richards and Megan Baltich. Okay. Now we're back with two of Tom's partners, Pat Richards and Megan Baltich. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So how did you guys get involved? I mean, we already heard how Blairhouse Interiors got involved with the Vanguard. Were you guys involved right from the start? Did someone just come in and say, we're doing Vanguard this year?
Well, I think, as Tom said, it was a great house, a good location for us, so we thought we're gonna do it. It's right in our community. And it is a lot of work, and while you're doing this, you're trying to run your business. So it works for us to do it as a team
Okay.
because, we
So
can
when you
share
first-
the burden.
But now, when you first saw the room, I noticed what you wrote down as your challenge, the design challenge, the parlor becomes a media room, 21st century. So this was like the overriding concept, I guess you could say.
Yes, interestingly enough, Tom was the one who renamed
Okay.
the parlor, the 21st
Okay.
Century Parlor, on our behalf, changing it in the Vanguard program.
Okay.
With that we knew Nate was going to sell the house and certainly needed a TV
Oh, sure.
on the first level. We were kicking and screaming a little bit about the TV in there, but working with the challenges of designing and tweaking the bookcase with the cabinet makers. We were able to incorporate the TV in the room and then wanted to address our focal point in the room that we saw it as we picked the room, the fireplace.
So when you first saw the room, that was what you went to first, the fireplace?
Yes, it's what you see right when you enter the room.
And then what, you just start getting, how does this work? I mean, just why don't you say how do you get your ideas, I guess?
Well, and partly, as Megan said, the given, which is we had to have this built in, and Tom mentioned before, and I think you have a picture of the first concept that Nate presented to us with this built-in that went wall to wall, and kind of cut the room. You've got this wonderful ceiling height, and it just cut it. And we thought it would look really discordant. It just wasn't good, and it also minimized or diminished the importance of the fireplace. So we wanted to pull that back, give it more height, give it a stepped height to kind of take advantage of that great ceiling height, and then let the fireplace stand proud of the back wall. We kept the fireplace, the trim color, the bright white, so it really stood out against our dark navy. And the other thing about the fireplace, that it had quite a small scale mantle for the 11-foot ceiling height. The mantle was probably what?
At my waist when
Like
I
40
stood up.
inches,
Yeah,
or
it
it
was
was
at my
really-
waist when I stood up.
Yeah, it looked out of scale to us. So Nate was good enough to allow us to come up with a millwork treatment that we
Okay.
designed to put above the fireplace to give it some more importance, so that it really does stand out. And then we put this fabulous mirror above it.
Okay,
So
then,
it's,
like I say, people will see this room on the screen as you're talking about it. And then the colors, how did you guys go about the colors?
Typically in an empty room, we like to work from the ground up. So our inspiration was the antique Persian Oriental rug,
Okay.
which
that's-
had saturated colors of our reds and our blues and our creams that were our trim. We also knew we had a giant white bookcase in the room housing the TV, and creating the focal point of the fireplace also being our trim color. We wanted that sharp contrast.
Now, did you have the rug? Did you have the rug first? Is
That was our inspiration.
Oh, okay.
That's where we began.
So you sort of built up from the rug.
Exactly.
Sort of? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, that's
and that's a perfect world, and that's kind of a Showhouse gives us the opportunity to do that.
okay. And then the colors, people can see on the screen. You got sort of like a black and white kind of. How did?
well, it's
or
navy,
only that
it's
one?
navy blue. I
Oh,
know
it's
the
okay.
picture might look black, but
Okay, it's navy blue.
it's a dark
okay.
navy
All
on the
right.
wall. Yeah.
And then the bookcase. That sounds like it was a lot of work there. Was it?
Yeah, it was. That was our first challenge, but I think it worked out, and it was set off beautifully by the navy blue. And part of the reasoning, too, behind the navy blue, again, the footprint was small, but we had this great ceiling height, and we wanted to sort of expand the room visually. And a dark, cool color does that.
Yeah, okay.
That color recedes rather than advances. If we painted the room red, it would have felt more closed in.
Okay.
So we picked this dark blue to sort of let the room open up a little bit. And it's also a very soothing, tranquil color. And we wanted people to come in and feel like, oh, I want to sit down.
You
and-
said earlier you didn't want the TV there. How you didn't want the TV?
Well, we don't really.
Right.
Well, this is an
It's
old
not our-
federal style house.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
You have a room with great bones, and that
Yeah.
we just didn't want that to be the focal point. But I don't think it was.
Right.
I think with our fireplace, and we had some really dynamic artwork, I think that's what
But
people noticed.
now, is this how it looks now?
That was our first pass.
Okay,
and
so
we
that'll
had-
that'll be on the screen.
That's
Right.
That's what we were given. That this is what they wanted to do.
Oh, I see, okay.
And it evolved to
It involved to the one with
a
the side.
narrower cabinet.
Yes,
Okay.
the negative space.
Okay.
again, so that it wasn't the dominant piece in the room.
Okay. You don't want to have a TV the focal point of a federal-style house.
Correct. That's what we thought too.
Yeah.
Now, and the let's see. You wrote down here the mix. What is? Can you tell? What is that? What do you mean by the mix?
The mix. We sort of wanted to have a mix of old and new, and
Okay.
again, given that that it was such a great old house with the wonderful architectural features, we wanted to bring in some, the rug is an antique, very traditional.
Well, some of the
piece.
furniture looks more modern.
But some of the
Correct.
furniture is more modern. We have a couple pieces from Knoll that is classic modern furniture from about 1940. The sofa is a more contemporary, really comfortable, sink into kind of sofa. And then we've got a wing chair, which is a very traditional silhouette, but it's done in a really buttery, soft leather that it looks very, today, it looks very,
Yeah.
updated.
I like the mirror. The mirror is very.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
The mirror, off of the shape and design lines of the mirror, we incorporated that feeling and element onto our ceiling.
Okay.
Being the 11-foot high ceiling, I don't know if you can see it from that picture. We probably have another picture that we did a hand stencil on the ceiling.
Oh, okay.
And
You mean the ceiling is hand stencil?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
If you look at the other photograph, you'll see it a little bit more,
Okay.
Joe.
And now, what about I guess the draperies? That's sort of I never saw that kind of style. What about the draperies?
they function as shades.
Or
Those windows.
were they shades or draperies? Maybe
They
I'm-
were shades. Yeah, they were shades. Those windows are very large. To give you an idea, they were almost the size of a normal door opening.
Oh, okay.
So let great light in, so we were able to do our dark color, and we also had the opportunity to have the gardens, being that the Vanguard opened in the springtime, outside our window with the pops of the green that you see in the picture. And we wanted to pull that navy that we put on our walls into the fabric. And setting that fabric off with the large casings, the trim around the windows, that again were the white color, to constantly create that pop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so now Tom was mentioning, and Barbara also, everything that went down to the wire. Was it fun, or now that it's over, is it easier to say it wasn't so?
It's
bad?
fun. It's fun doing it as a team. I don't think any of us would want to take it on alone. Because we all help each other get back up on the saddle.
Yeah, we were really happy with the way the room turned
Okay.
out. So that's rewarding, and people liked it. So
How down to the wire reminds me of our room was photographed right before, a week before the Vanguard house was opened in the Times-Union. In the
Okay, yeah, there's a story.
the real estate section, there was a little story on it, and we all brought it into work the next day, and we all noticed the backhoe that was in the window in the background still.
that's right.
We didn't even see our room. It was like, what is that yellow backhoe doing in the background? So, and then 2 days later it was
Yeah,
gone.
it was
So,
gone.
and the sod, yes, and the sod was there. So, that's how down to the wire it is. And
Okay. Well, for your business normally, Blairhouse Interiors, can you tell us a little bit about, you do commercial and for people's houses? How does, and anyone obviously they can contact you through the website or anything, but how do you work with, someone comes to you, what's the process?
What is the process?
I mean,
Well,
do some people say, I want to do X, and you try to do that, or do you try to work together, or do you say, do some people give you full reign, just come in and do what you want, or?
I think we get a mix of all
we
that.
do get a mix. We
Yeah.
don't get too many of do what you want. But
Okay.
if anyone out there,
That's what I would do. I would have people
Yeah.
do it, what you want.
Well, we'll give you our card.
yeah.
But-
But we do all sizes. Some projects go on for years. Some are,
Oh, okay.
uh,
Now, it says on the website also you work in the Capital District, and you've done stuff all over the country, is that? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
yeah, we do travel. So it's
And if you click on some of the pictures on the website under commercial, What are some of those buildings? They're beautiful. What are they?
I think what you're seeing is Saratoga National Golf Course.
Okay, and all the inside, you guys designed all that. It looked like I thought it was
Yes.
like a golf
Yeah.
course.
Yeah,
It was a
that was
golf
Saratoga
shop. and-
National, yeah.
Okay.
And,
So we were up there doing that project 6, 7 years ago,
more like
even
10,
more,
10. I think that's 10 years
prior
old
to
now.
us even having a studio in Saratoga.
Okay. So I'm sorry, you're in Loudonville and Saratoga.
Correct.
Yes.
And how long have you guys been in business?
14 years.
All right, 14 years.
Yeah.
Now, is it you two and Tom? Is there someone else? Or?
Yes,
And
we have another
Dominic.
partner,
Okay.
Dominic Carota.
Right. Let's see.
He's been on the road a lot this spring, working
okay.
downstate, so, yeah.
Well, are you guys going to be involved in? I know I asked Tom this. I'll ask you guys. Are you guys going to be involved?
What did Tom say?
So the years along.
Of course we will.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming by. It's BlairhouseInteriors.com. There's a lot of pictures. I got to say, when you see the pictures are kind of small, but you got to click on the pictures they blow up. There's all kinds of pictures of before and after, all kinds of bathrooms, bedrooms. Let's see. I wrote them all down here, but I don't have it. Oh yeah, here we go. Bathroom, bedrooms, living spaces. There's commercial dining rooms. You can see their work, and you can contact them through the website. So thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having
Thank you.
us.
And
Thanks
if
very
you
much.
guys do Blairhouse or Vanguard House next year, we'll have you back. And thanks for coming.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you next time on Getting to Know You.